Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. This is Brother Mushtaq coming at you live from the Happy Strong Family Studio every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, within the Masjid Darul Iman building in Markham, Ontario, Canada. And today I have the honor and privilege of interviewing Khateeb Ibn Stanley.
No, mashallah.
Okay. Also known as Abu Shahadah Foster. We were discussing off air about your past experience, your past life as an imam in the Don jails.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
An amazing background.
Yeah,
So
mashallah.
let's get right into it, man. You know, a brother who's wearing the Strictly Sunnah baseball cap, the Strictly Sunnah hockey jersey, made in Canada, by the way.
Mashallah.
If you've been living under a rock, God help you. I think you know what it means by now to be made in Canada. And this is exactly where that term came from, Wasteman.
Yes.
It's not a UK thing like we were discussing off air. It's actually a Canadian thing. Tell us about that, because look, today, and this is for all the youth or ute. This is for all the parents. If you are a teenager, young woman, young man, Canadian, immigrant, whatever you may be, you gotta watch this episode. Pass it on, but watch it now. Watch it live. Khateeb, over to you, man.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm very honored to be here with my brothers today. The term Wasteman is actually a remix thing that, it's a patois thing that, it's Jamaican patois.
Okay.
So they say this in Jamaica, New York, Florida, Chicago, LA, Toronto, and the UK.
All right.
It's coming from the patois, a waste man, a waste youth. So what it basically means is a useless man's with no plans.
Wow.
Someone who is basically a waste of your time, a waste of your resources, a waste of your money, a waste of your space, brother. So, a lot of parents, they have a lot of wasted hopes on their kids. And this definition, is something that you find it in the hip hop vernacular, in the dance hall vernacular. So, if you really understand the pulse of the street, and most of the, imported imams, they don't have a clue what's going on, most of them. The new generation, mashallah, unfortunately, they listen to the hip hop and they watch the movies, the gangster movies. So they pick up on this stuff. So, as the brothers were saying, that some people came from the UK and they started saying it's a patois thing that, it's patois, bro.
All right, man. All right.
Yeah.
But let's get into this. Look, Ustad, Imam, Khateeb Stanley, tell us about youth culture right now. Okay, because look, whether you're an immigrant family or first generation Canadian like myself, my kids are second generation Canadian. Okay, you are donned right now in the made in Canada apparel. Okay, what does it mean to be a youth? Never mind whether it's LA, Chicago, Florida, UK, wherever. Right now, Muslim youth are going through a crisis.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think with parents, there's a big disconnect. Culturally speaking, you're saying it's culture, man. It's your culture. Okay. It's a patois thing. I get that. Big respect for that. Respect. Okay. But brother, for the youth right now and for their parents, there's a huge disconnect, man.
Absolutely.
Like, bring us up to speed on that.
Absolutely. So, many of the parents, they thought when they brought their kids over here and they dropped them in the land of milk and honey, go to school, get an education, everything will be okay. Go to the mosque on Sunday, memorize Juz Amma, Para Amma, and mashallah, fast in Ramadan, everything will be good. Alhamdulillah, Ahmed, Muhammad, Zulkifr, Chowdhury, they'll all be good Muslims, mashallah, tabarakallah. Everything will be okay. But then they realize, our kids are being tarnished by what's happening in society. So this is something that the parents didn't plan for. That and this is what I say, the hip hop culture is the fastest cultural movement in the world. They have kids in China, Japan, France, all types of places. The kids are what they call spitting bars in
Mhm.
their language,
Mhm.
and the kids are listening to this all over the world, right? So, spoken word is actually ring, 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 ding-a-ling, no problem. It's a fling thing that. So, we're having a big problem, and the parents think, you know what, if we fly in Mufti so-and-so or Sheikh so-and-so from South Africa or whatever, he'll come in with a magic formula to Toronto. As we had a big conference a couple weeks ago, they flew in all these people from outside of the city, and mashallah, they're good at what they're doing. And then, we're like, okay, bro, but I'm in my city right here. Why are you not working with the people that are on the ground
On
here?
the ground, yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
this is a big problem, is that even the masajid, they don't use the local talent that much. Like we have probably the biggest Muslim community in North America, bigger than Dearborn,
Yeah.
bigger than Chicago, bigger than Texas, bigger than New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Philly's big, but Toronto, there's nothing like Toronto.
Oh, Toronto's the hub. Look, man, just to give you any sense of validation, I have cousins in Chicago or Chicago Sharif. Okay, my parents are originally from Hyderabad, India, so there's a big cultural thing. Hyderabadis are known as hydros. Okay, on my wife's side, we have family in Houston or Sugarland, Texas. So I can tell you unequivocally, hands down, people in the U.S., whether you're from Chicago or Houston, they always reference Toronto first and foremost. Like, yeah, we got a good thing going on here, but Toronto's the place to be. So tell us, man, again, what is that on the ground reality then?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? We have, this is why I've had a lot of contention with a lot of imams that didn't open their brain. You got to get down in the gutter, in the trenches. You got to be a grassroots worker. The kids don't care if you have what they call a PhD. In my culture, we call it permanent head damage. You're able to articulate a lot of vernacular that is so-called spectacular. And they think that their bite will be, powerful like Dracula. When they come, I'm Dr. So-and-so, Sheikh so-and-so, Mufti so-and-so. The kids don't want to hear all of that.
Yeah.
They want to know, do you got the ground game? Did you get down in the gutter and do the work? Did you go out and distribute food to the people on the lower ends? As they say, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
And this is a big problem in the leadership. Not all the imams, but a vast majority of them. They're not team players. As Allah Ta'ala says, come together, cooperate on piety and righteousness, not on sin and transgression. So, this is the big problem, the leadership. And then on top of that, you have the imara, the directors and stuff like that. They're out to lunch, brother. Some years ago, one brother, he actually used to be the vice president of a masjid, and he called to ask me, brother, my nephew is, he got in trouble. We're very ashamed. He did this. Can you help us out? And I said to him, well, brother, we came to you 3 years ago to try to incorporate our program into your masjid.
Right.
And you told us, hey, man, you're not a scholar. Hey, man, you didn't memorize Quran. Hey, man, nobody really thinks you have the knowledge. The Prophet said, khiyarukum jahiliya, khiyarukum Islam, ila fiqhu. That the best of you in the days of ignorance will become the best of you in Islam if Allah gives you comprehension of the religion.
Yes.
So, that's our credentials. We grew up in the streets, we grew up in the hoods, we grew up in the clubs. So we understand what is going on. And that's our culture. That's our first language.
Right.
So, usually when the hip hop guys are saying their bars or whatever like that, we don't got to second guess what they meant. That's our ebonics. We know what that means.
Yeah.
So the kids are gravitating to that because, oh, wow, did you hear what Kendrick did to local Toronto star? And, this is the big talk amongst the youth. Like today, right now, the internet is going crazy because Luka Doncic got traded to the Lakers.
That's right. Bron.
Right?
LeBron James. Yeah. 100%. Now they're a team.
And the thing of it is if you were to ask the imams, what they call the fiqh al-waqi'ah, what is the current affairs, the vast majority of them have no clue. So most of the leadership, not all, they have their head, brother, in the ground, and we got a lot of work to do.
So then, okay, let's do a deep dive. Let's deconstruct this box.
Yeah.
Tell us exactly what is happening. Give us at least 3 things that are happening right now with the youth, with the Muslim youth. Okay, what are 3 things that either parents know, or they don't know, or maybe they don't even want to address? Just keep those blinders on, keep the blindfold on, and be like, hey, I'm Muslim. Doesn't happen to me.
Okay, so let's first, we're going to try to get a little philosophical here.
Yeah, why
philosophy,
not? Why
and
not?
We'll try to come back to the street. So number one, الشخصية, personality traits.
Okay.
Is your kid an intelligent, strong, powerful, intelligent thinker, or are they just a couch potato, like we said? What type of personality are you dealing with? One who likes to read, get out there, do stuff, likes to mix with the people, or someone who's just laid back? You have to identify, first of all, your kid's personality. Now, that's a whole conversation. We don't have time for it. Maybe in the future, inshallah ta'ala, we'll talk about it. Then you have to identify the circles of influence.
Okay.
Which I mentioned, somewhere, inshallah ta'ala. Circles of influence are really important. As the Prophet said, al-mar'u, in another narration, ar-rajulu ala dini ala khalili fayandur ahadukum min yukhalil. That a man or person is on the religion of their friend. So look to see who you take as your friend. So parents need to see who their kids are moving with. And then the last one, and there's so many, ask your kid, what do you want to do with your life? Most kids are forced, they say to the kids, I want you to be a doctor. I want you to be an engineer. I want you to be a lawyer. Yeah. And the kid doesn't want to do that. The kid wants to do something else, maybe be an IT or a person who makes video games. And, the parents are trying to live their dreams through their children.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
Yeah. I mean, we could have a whole separate side discussion. I know, again, I'm an open book. Many people know my backstory and they've probably heard it enough times. But again, my parents came from India in the 60s. They were probably one of the first, probably 40 brown people, literally in Toronto at that time. Again, this is the 60s. People literally thought my parents were from old world Italy, Sicilian, or something like that. When my parents would be like, oh, I'm from India, they'd be like, where's that? Oh, you must be Italian. Long story short, things have changed. But in terms of the youth right now, if you are a waste man, if you're just taking up space, if you have no idea as to what you want to do, what you want to become, how can you give back to this world? What is your mission or purpose in life? Now, and again, I'm not talking about putting an 11-year-old on the spot. I'm talking about someone who's 16, 17, 18. Right. Because look, let me tell you the hard reality. For any parents, again, for the parents that have blinders on, or parents that know what's going on, but again, just refuse to accept, or parents who are struggling, okay? Listen up. Grade 12, okay? Kids, here in Ontario at least, in the Greater Toronto area, grade 12 is the year they apply to college and university. And it's not, in this day and age with AI and everything that's going on, it's not about fake it till you make it. Yeah. It's not about using ChatGPT and kind of, cheating your way through the system. Yeah. And it's not about becoming a YouTuber, okay? Mr. Beast is a complete different animal. Right. Not everyone can become Mr. Beast, okay? I'll tell you plain and simple. Right. So what can, as a youth, let's just address the youth now, man. If you have no idea what's going on, how can your deen help you? Khateeb, you've addressed inmates in the Don jail, man. Yeah. You know the hard life, you know the hard knocks. So let's put it in a context with youth. What can the youth do?
Okay, so you'd have to have mad skills to pay the bills, man. You have to have multiple streams of halal income, and you got to keep upgrading yourself. For me, I'm 53 years old now. I have a class that I have to attend listening to my sheikh later on today. Plus, I have to do other research. I got to continue to learn and upgrade. Nobody cares what you learned 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I was talking with a PhD recently. I said, brother, you got your PhD 30 years ago. You have no clue what's going on in society right now. One of the things when we're studying psychology, I've been able to, look deeply into some of the traits of what a waste man would come under in terms of, a lazy loafer loser. This is what, they say in the streets, but it's someone who's apathetic. Go and look that up. Someone who is a procrastinator and someone who's a pleasure seeker. So I personally know of a family, may Allah guide them, where the kid used to play video games 24 hours day and night until he fall asleep. The mother would say, come out and get some food. Come out and get some food. And the kid would just sit there and play video games. And she used to, you got to make your salat. You got to go to school, and all the kid wanted to do is play video games, which is a Wasteman thing, right?
Right.
Video games. So finally, after years of her yelling at him, screaming at him, go do something, go make salat, go to school, get a job. The kid left from there, and the first people that he ran into when he went into the street is the drug dealers.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Father passed away, and unfortunately, the mother passed away. May Allah have mercy upon them. And, these young kids, bro, they're still moving drugs, unfortunately.
Oh.
So when you go back and you look at it, the initial foundations that we build for the kids is of the utmost importance. And it's not, and I've been saying it, it's not just tahfidh al-Quran. Most of the Muslims, they do not study the usul ad-din wa i'tiqad ad-din. And this is where I put my life studying. I didn't focus too much on memorizing the Quran. I focused on learning the Arabic language so I can go and read and listen to the scholars. I focused on the basic I can't even say it, the philosophy, the theory of the aqidah of the Muslims, as well as the usul, the fundamentals of the religion. If you ask most of the kids, and I can challenge the kids here, what is the meaning of La ilaha illallah?
All right.
Most of the kids say there's no God but God. That's wrong. There's no God but Allah. That's wrong. That's not what it means. So sciences such as studying the Arabic language, first of all, when you do what they call the i'rab, which is the grammatical analysis, it'll teach you the two principles of what is known as la and nafia, right? Total negation, and then ithbat. Nafi wa ithbat. Negation, affirmation. And it's taught to the kids at a young age, but because they don't know Arabic, it's said in the kalima clearly, la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika.
Right.
But it just goes right over the head. And it's not pounded in the head like in certain cultures like the Mashaykh in Yemen. This is something the kids are very strong on. So I think, and this is my estimation, where some of the problem is for me as a new Muslim, I was blessed to sit with ulama from every land, brother.
Right.
And I learned the good and I learned the bad from them. Where most of the kids, their sheikh is only from their culture.
Right.
And they don't move outside of that. So you can't grow. Then you're in a situation, we don't want to go off topic too much, but you're handcuffed by only learning from one scholar from one madhab.
Right.
So how are you going to grow in a society like this?
Yeah.
What's the madhab in Toronto? Survival, brother. Survival is the madhab, brother.
Okay, so this would be a great plug for your book.
Yes.
All right.
Mashallah.
So you mentioned survival.
That's right.
Here, we've done a prop. You can see it clearly. It's in the middle of both of us.
That's right.
In light of the 7 Gs, and I'll let you explain, the Muslim Ghetto Survival Guide, okay? Khateeb Ibn Stanley. Now, what is this book about? Okay, why did you write it? How can it help youth?
Okay, so all those years working in the jail, for many years, I would try to advise community. And they say, well, what's so special about this guy? I said, I worked in a Don jail. So yeah, but Sheikh so-and-so's got a PhD. He can, I said, yeah, but brother, I have specialized knowledge. متخصص في what they call مشاكل الشباب. I have specialized knowledge in working with the problems with the youth. Yeah, but our PhD, our Sheikh, our Mufti, our Maulana, our Hafiz, so-and-so, they can quote some Quran. Yeah, but they don't got the antidotes that I got. Right? So when I wrote this book, some of the highlights, it took me 8 years to write this book.
Okay, mashallah.
And part of that reason is my father died. My uncle, who I was very close to, he passed away. And one of my female older cousins, she's kind of like an auntie, she passed away. So no doubt you're going to have what they call writer's block. This is one of the things. Also, this book, brother, is written all in black pages. The whole book is in black pages, brother.
Okay.
And it's in black pages because we're in some dark times.
Yes. Love it.
We're in some dark modes.
Love it.
Right? So, it's a little bit of a premium type thing, right?
All right.
It's also, if you look at it, when you open it and you see, mashallah, my book architect, it looks like a video game.
Okay.
So on a psychological, when the kids, they look at the book, they're like, man, we've never seen nothing like this before in our life. Right? And, while I wrote this book, believe it or not, I drank 500 cups of coffee.
Okay.
That's the time that I put into it. Now, alhamdulillah, we learned from that. Now that I don't got to try to put the pictures in there, I'll just give it to my book architect. So that should cut off some time, But why we wrote the book, is the issue of fiqh tawaqi, the current affairs.
Yeah.
So some of the highlights, we talk about griots. I'm going to try to go quickly. Griots is something in West African culture. They use the word jelly, but it's a French word meaning people that used to travel from place to place, and they would be a repository of information, and they would be called what we call bards, right? Or storytellers.
Yes.
They would be a traveling group of people, and they would tell stories, and they would entertain the hierarchy.
Mhm.
So in Islam, we have poetry,
Mhm.
and poetry is very coveted in our religion as a way to teach the youth, and we've got away from that. Actually, when you study some of the mutun or the ma'zuma in Arabic, as they call it, this was an extra system the ulama put in to explain concepts in Islam.
Okay.
It's not found in most of the madrasa system. So you're memorizing Quran and Hadith, but there's poetry that was written to help you memorize that, right? That's from our religion. Also in this book, a big issue is nature versus nurture.
Okay.
It's a huge thing, brother.
All right.
What area, what ends did you grow up in?
Yeah.
So people say, yeah, man, I'm in Cataraqui, or I'm down in Truthui. Like, these are all hoods in the city, and now some of the good areas, the kids go visit their cousins and they learn some bad things. They come back to the suburbs, and now they want to switch up their nature versus nurture. Also, street wisdoms. So this book here is filled with hip hop from the non-Muslims and some Muslims talking about what really happens in the streets.
Okay.
Now, araftu shar wala li shar, as one of the poets used to say, that I learn evil not for the sake of learning evil, but to stay away from it.
Oh.
So that's why we put this book, lots of hip hop vernacular, and a lot of rhymes in here, so people can understand what gravitates the youth to the streets, the lore, right? Or what they call the euphoric, being a roadman, a gangster, right? The kids, oh wow, did you see that gangster movie? And unfortunately, the jail is packed with hufad the Quran that are gangsters. This is a big problem in many of the communities. Also in this book, we don't want to go too much off topic. We talked about the maqasid of Sharia. Okay. It's not taught in the masjid. Maqasid of Sharia is so important with your 5 points. We don't have time to get into that, but the book goes into detail explaining, one of them is hifd al-deen, to preserve your deen. Okay. Hifd al-aql, to preserve your intellect. Okay. These are some of the things that, but I think the biggest problem, brother, that the youth are facing right now, and it's not dealt with, is instant gratification versus delayed gratification.
Good point.
So a young kid comes out in the street and he hooks up with the wrong people, and he bumps into Bubba from the back street. Right. The Bubba from the back street is moving some things. They say moving some packages and things, we call it in my culture, right? So Bubba from the back street says to little Ahmed, hey man, listen, you want to make some money? Yeah. Move this little package from here to here, and when you come back, I'll hook you up with $300. Right. So he's maybe 14 years old. So he goes down the road, does what he does, drops off the little package. The guy comes off and he breaks him off 3 bills, right? So now he comes to him, the next time he comes out, he said, listen, man, I got this bigger package, man. If you can move this package, you got to go a little bit further. I'll give you $1,000. Right. So now once that kid starts tasting that money, and I've seen it so many times, brother, I could, in my book, I break it down. Recently, I went to a family's house, and I asked the mother some questions. I said, does your son have a lot of new clothing? She's like, yes. I said, oh, what kind of clothing does he have? He's got the new LeBron James and the new Kobe Bryant and all the fancy clothes. And I said, does he have a job? No. I said, did the father buy that clothes? No. Did you buy those clothes? No. I said, where did he get those clothes from? She said, oh, his friends bought it for him. Now, don't you wish, brother, that you had friends that can go and buy you a jumpsuit for sure of LeBron James or Luka or whoever the star is with $400 jumpsuit, the newest tech fleece, $200 pair of dollar shoes? Those are great friends, right? So that shows you the naivety of the mother, that she don't know that that's sign number 1 right there. Right. So we have some issues. This book is very special because after every single chapter, I have an action guide. It's an action guide where you have to learn after every chapter, what did you learn in the last chapter, and you have to write it out.
Okay.
You see, so here we have the issue of ilm wal amal, knowledge and action.
Right.
This is a big problem. You know, the kids, they say that the scholars from the past, that what would help them to memorize the hadith is that they would practice it as well.
Yes.
There's barakah.
Yes.
And this is something that we're losing, brother, in the West, is that barakah in our time, our efforts in our dawah.
Let me give you a quick example, and then we'll jump right into questions from the audience. You look at one of the greats, Umar.
Yeah.
Okay. It took him, from what I understand from the scholars, and please, Khateeb, correct me if I'm wrong, it took him 10 years to memorize Surah Baqarah. Not because of a lack of memory. No. He came back to the Prophet Muhammad and said, look, it took me 10 years, but why? Because I implemented word for word every part of that verse of the Quran into my life.
That's right.
And then to him, that was his definition of memorizing the verse, that he actually implemented it into his life.
Absolutely.
So now let's quickly get into questions. Producer Kashif.
I just wanted to make one point on that, brother.
Yeah,
you know, so the statement that we said before, Omar actually piggybacked on that statement where he said, "Man lam ya'rif jahiliya, lam ya'rif Islam."
Okay.
He said, "He who doesn't know jahiliya will not fully comprehend Islam." So, you know, there's a very powerful statement that one of my sheikhs said. He said, "Forget band-aids, we got bullet holes."
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. So let's get into some questions, man. Producer Kashif.
Yeah, inshallah, jazakallah khair. So forget band-aids, we got bullet holes.
yeah.
That was actually the title of your first episode here with
That's
Happy
right.
Strong Family. So I encourage
That's
people
right.
to look it up. It was another one, you know, very related to youth. Brother Shazad Mustafa, I think at the time hosted it. So look it up on our channel, inshallah. So I did also share, as you were speaking, the website to get the book. It's also on the screen here. Muslim Ghetto Survival Guide.com is where we go. I'm also sharing the Instagram here at Ibn Stanley, IBNSTANLEY. So inshallah, follow the brother.
I'm on Facebook more than Instagram.
Okay, so also the Facebook, look it up, inshallah. I don't have it handy here, but I'm sure if you Google it, inshallah, you'll find it. So then let's get back to the questions here, inshallah. So one of the questions that came in, I think we answered, is what is that poster in the middle? The Muslim Ghetto Survival Guide, is it a program? So inshallah, we've answered that. We've shown the book, inshallah. And there you go. And you know, there's a QR code also I'll display on the screen. So if you want to purchase it, you can click on that, take a picture of that QR code also.
So one kid the other day, I met him in the library, and you could tell he's a roadman, but he said he's trying to make Toba. So he asked me, you know, brother, you know, how do I get this book? Because I had a used copy, and I was showing his friend. He goes, how do I get that? So first thing I did, I looked at his shoes. And this kid, he's doing some things he shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
And I looked at his shoes. I said, oh, those are the new Jordans? Oh, those are such and such Jordans? I go, how much did those cost? He said, $270. I said, oh, this is half a Jordan. Brother came out the pocket right there. Psh, bro, I need to make some changes. He said, I got shot, and I need to make some changes. You see, so he invested in himself. So, you know, you think about how many families go out for dinner and waste, you know, $100.
Right.
And then you eat it. And then what happens to it a day later? Whereas one lesson in here, inshallah ta'ala, could be a good nasiha, you know, for your kid, inshallah ta'ala. No.
Inshallah. So we have a question, I assume from a parent. How do parents keep up with what their children are into? Some of the terms mentioned seem so foreign.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go, Khateeb. Like how? Okay, so again, could be a cultural thing. Yeah. Maybe they're immigrants, or maybe they're first generation Canadian, second generation Canadian. But again, look, man, this is the very nature of parenting. Yeah. All right, parents are not their kids. Kids are not their parents. There will always be this inherent disconnect. Yeah. But what can parents do, man? Give us some of that wisdom. Yeah. Give us some of that wisdom.
Well, see, when I first embraced Islam, the people that I listened to that helped make me firm were what they would call converts or reverts, but really those who entered Islam before me. I learned from them first. So the Siraj Wahajis, the Abdullah Hakim Quicks, and those other than that, because they just came from Jahaliyyah. So the thing is most masajid, we're finding that most of the masajid, the brother has to take a call here. Most of the masajid, their imams are from back home. So back home is not here. And what we're finding is that the imam, the local imam, most of the time, he goes from the masjid to the restaurant to the convention center, and then he goes in that cycle to the grocery store. So he himself never steps outside. So the youth have to come to him, but he never goes to the youth outside of the facility. So many of the imams, in my opinion, they need to be retrained. And I'll just give you a quick example here. One very, very knowledgeable imam, mashallah, tabarakallah, has very high skills, a PhD holder. He came into the city of Toronto, and when he first moved here, he realized that the people were wearing a blue hat and a blue shirt that said Toronto Maple Leafs. Not Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs, meaning that they haven't won a championship since 1967. So this particular imam, very knowledgeable, highly knowledgeable in his particular genre that he speaks upon, he started wearing the Toronto Maple Leaf hat and the Toronto Maple Leaf jacket, and he was moving around the city in Toronto, no problem. This is what, he could kind of blend in with the people. His skin is very white and he has like blondish kind of hair. So he could kind of fit in as a local Torontonian until he actually spoke. Anyways, this imam was invited out to Calgary to do some lectures out there.
Okay.
So he landed in Calgary and the Muslims picked him up there. Now, as you know, it's turf wars, brother. It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys, if you understand that, or the Aus and the Khazraj, right? So as soon as he lands there, the Muslim brothers pick him up. There's Calgary Flame Town. He comes in there rocking his Toronto Maple Leaf hat and jersey and sweater, as he's just moving in before he goes and does his lectures. They looked at him and said, "What? What are you doing? Ish hada ya sheikh. What are you doing? You can get killed here in Calgary for wearing that clothes." The sheikh also went to Edmonton the week later to do some lectures out there. That's Edmonton Oilers turf.
Oilers turf.
The sheikh still is rocking the hats of Toronto.
Yeah.
Now, some people, that's a death wish, brother. Imagine you play for Chelsea, and you come into Liverpool or Manchester and you're wearing those clothes and those people are, drunk and insane, you can get murked and gurked. Yeah. See, these are the terminology you need to know in Scarborough.
There you go.
Murked and gurked. None of the imams know this stuff, man. It means being cut up and sliced and, killed on the spot, right?
Wow, yeah.
The kids know this stuff.
Yeah. Or when you're leaving in a rush, you could just cut scene.
Yeah.
Right? My nephew uses that. Bounce is no one uses bounce nowadays, man.
Yep.
My nephews all use cut scene. Uncle, let's cut scene.
Yep.
All right, man. Look, so just to put this into perspective, for anyone who's saying, "Oh, you know what? This Ibn Khateeb, we don't know what he's talking about. It's still foreign to us." Look, I was at the NCCM Leadership Summit last weekend. Okay, wow. The National Council of Canadian Muslims.
Mashallah.
And I was sitting across from a very young person. He was in his late 20s. Okay, he worked for a particular city. He's, let's just say, in the province of Alberta. Okay, and he is part of the leadership there. And he said, the reason I've taken a leadership role is because I have seen far too many of my friends get shot in front of me and die. In Calgary, I'm not talking about the 90s, 80s, 70s. Right, I'm talking about last weekend, 2025, January. Okay. He is a young person. And he said the reason he is leading a particular mosque there is that Calgary youth are far too involved in guns, gangs, and drugs. So this is a real issue right now. This is a very real issue with a lot of our Muslim youth. We can't dismiss it. We can't be dismissive about it. If you know nothing about it, or if you still think that this is a foreign, then just when the YouTube video comes out, take it, send it, and say, what are these guys talking about? To maybe somebody who is a little bit closer to the youth.
I got a question for you, brother.
100%.
Do you know what a GAT is?
I have no idea.
See, so this is the problem. If you ask 99.9999999% of the imams or the leadership, what's a gat?
Is it a gun?
In my book here, there's a whole chapter on gats, brother.
Oh, okay.
A chapter on guns and
Okay.
gun warfare,
Oh,
brother.
there you go. There you go. There you
Right? So we're dealt with the issue, brother.
go.
So those meetings that you went to and stuff, they should have been inviting me a long time ago. When I wrote this book, the people in the library, they see me all the time. They're non-Muslims. So I've built up a rapport with some of them, and they said, "You're a local author? Why don't here's the email. Why don't you write to Mrs. So-and-so, who's the head of the committee? We would love for you to come and have a workshop with the youth of this library." It's a big brand new library. They spent millions, the Hazel McCallion Library.
Yes.
Come and talk to the kids. Like, there's a lot of Muslim kids there. Come and make a workshop. I've been saying to the Muslim community, how come we're not doing a workshop on this? But you see, brother, they have a line of poetry, al-mizmar al-hay la yutriba, that the local, that translates as the local flute player or the local musician, he never gets a chance to entertain the community. So because I'm from Toronto, see, he's got nothing to offer. We got to fly in guys so-and-so from here, there, whatever. I'm like, bro, listen, expunge the talent that's in your community. It doesn't have to be me. Try to see what people have. Ask them for their resume. Ask them for their experience. You can learn a lot from the new Muslims, brother.
Right.
We have a background that many people, they don't have.
There you go.
And this is, we need to share if we really care. And I've been saying for years to the community, we have to work together. If you look at the system, when the Prophet ﷺ was in one of the Maghazis, he said to the Sahaba at that time, does anybody have anything to help us? So Salman al-Farisi, he wasn't an Arab. He said, yeah, man, in Persia, man, when we're getting jammed up, man, we build the khandak.
Right.
And he got that technology.
The trench.
The trench.
Yeah.
Right. So trench warfare, brother. We're in the trenches, brother.
That's right.
So here is some nasiha for the world.
There you go. There you go. Producer Kashif, another question, please.
Yes, Jazakallah khair. So a question came in. We have seen so much crime in Toronto from youth, like jewelry store heists, carjacking, etc.
Yep.
Do you think we are soft on crime, or reason is something else?
Oh, great question. Great question. Please give us your analysis on that.
Yeah, absolutely. The system for Canada is really bad compared to other countries. I think it's in El Salvador, if I'm not mistaken. The president there, I think his father was Muslim. They're locking everybody up in this new special jail there, and you can't get out. You commit a crime, you're going to spend lots of time there. So, here now, a kid does something, slap on the wrist, And then, unfortunately, there's lots of kids that are, doing some things they shouldn't do. And they might actually have a stint in jail, 2-year bid. They go in as a guy who robs and steals, and he comes out, and now he becomes a killer or someone who does something. So the jail, as we knew from way back in the day, it is a university for criminals.
Right.
You'll be bunked up with your cellie. Like we said before, you did some small things. Now you learn how to do some big things.
Yeah.
So, one of the issues is, parents, they're willing to give $30,000, I was telling the brother, for a lawyer and for bailing out their kids. But for something like this, brother, this is expensive, brother. So the question is do you know the law of maintenance, brother?
What is that? Please tell me.
This is a big issue here. So for instance, I'll just make it simple for you. It's wintertime. If I didn't spend $400 or $500 on new winter tires,
okay,
how much could it cost if I can't hold the road and I crash, brother?
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars. I could lose my car. I can injure somebody. I can kill somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to spend any money on that. So this is the issue. We have chandeliers in the masjids. We have minarets in the masjids. We have domes on the masjid that have nothing to do with Islam. But the Muslims have money for that. The Muslims have money for halal meat and fancy restaurants. But now when it comes to their kids, are they really investing?
Oh, great point. Great point. Great point. Another question, please, Producer Kashif.
So there's a comment from someone watching. You want the truth, brothers and sisters? Young people have turned to crime because there's no future. Their standards of living will be lower than their parents. There's no hope, just suffering. So how does a young person get hope for the future when it's getting so hard to live out there?
there's so much hope. You don't got to sell dope. You're not on a tightrope. And actually here, there's some bars that I put in here. So my alter ego, when I was a non-Muslim, my father, he actually discouraged me from rapping. My father looked upon rap music as idiocy. So at that time, I had a pen. I could write. But my father, you'll just be a fool in the street. It's just like bebopping. In his day, they would stand on the corner and they would, go like this and they would bebop and stuff, right? So for me, I grew up with hip hop. So Dr. Dunya, that's my alter ego. Okay, so these are the bars that I wrote about this problem here. All right, so you can get this here. All right, the kids are dying. The mothers are crying. The kids are going to jail. The mothers, they can't pay the bail. The fathers are absent. Total detachment. The leaders drop the ball. The community's biggest downfall. After Quran school, the kids act like fools and move drugs like mules. They hate school, a dropout whirlpool. They lost hope. Now they move dope. They fell off the slope. No one is throwing them a rope. They have been walking a tightrope. I wonder who passed the envelope. Some are in a state of comatose. They took the full dose. Too many are engrossed, then boast. Now they're ghost.
Powerful.
Now finish. Big business industry. To many, it's a mystery. Prison complex shouts another victory. There never was any sincerity. The gatekeepers don't think it's a necessity. We need to deal with this problem effectively and get back to some normality. This is old school chaplaincy with a dash of philanthropy. Let's stop the calamity. We need to bring in the whole cavalry. Poem on the condition of the Muslim youth from the pen of Khateeb ibn Stanley. How many imams can do that?
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Let me give you my quick hot take on that. Now,
is that relatable?
100%. Look, man, in terms of hope, okay, all we have as Muslims is hope. Okay, and let me tell you, plain and simple, and I'll try to be as coherent as possible, and I might get emotional about this as well. I look at some of my older nieces and nephews, the way inflation is charting right now. Over the past 2-3 years, house prices, condo prices, apartment rents, basement apartment rents. It's not possible, man, for a young couple to just even leave their parents' houses. Okay. Facts. So as a young couple, it's hard. I'm not even going to go off on a tangent and talk about mortgages versus Islamic mortgages. Bun that. We're going to talk up simple inflation and hard cost of living. It's next to impossible to do that. Okay. But then the flip side of that coin is when you listen to the Friday sermon before the Arabic khutbah, just this past Friday here at Masjid Darul Iman, Imam Nabil came back through a relief mission in Gaza. He was in Gaza for 4 days. I have the video. He, alhamdulillah, was in the first saf in Masjid al-Aqsa. The Imam turned around and be like, Sheikh, you lead. That's an amazing honor, man. That when I saw that video, blew me away. Alhamdulillah. Our very own Imam of Masjid Darul Iman led Salah in Masjid al-Aqsa. Do you know how much of an honor that is? That is the third holiest site in Islam, Masjid al-Aqsa. The message of him spending almost 4 or 5 days there in Gaza from the people in Gaza was that, Sheikh, give a message back to the people of Toronto, people of Canada, give our children an education so they can be part of the system to get out of the system. That's right. We're talking about so many things here. We're talking about intergenerational trauma. We're talking about a system that literally puts you in a cage. Okay? Just for Imam Nabil to get into Masjid al-Aqsa, it's literally a concrete wall, man. Okay? Once you go in, that's it. Then you come out. Okay? You spend time there because it's literally a miracle just to get it even into that whole area, Masjid al-Aqsa. So you look at that. Okay? Cost of living is hard here. Okay? what are we going to do as Muslims? I don't know. Right now, with the way political winds are moving, Bill C-21 in Quebec, banning hijabs, banning religious identities, whether you're Muslim, Jewish, Sikh, the world's going to pot.
Yeah.
Okay. But then you look at the flip side and say, oh my God, Alhamdulillah, people in Gaza, they're nothing but hope, man.
Yeah.
They're nothing but hope.
Absolutely.
They know they're chosen. They've been chosen. Okay. When Imam Nabil was there in his Friday sermon, he's like, we all had smiles on our faces. They couldn't understand. The people at the security crossing couldn't understand. Why are these people so happy? That's what our deen teaches us. Our deen teaches us to make tawbah. Our deen teaches us to make sincere prayer, because there is more mercy in Allah than his wrath.
That's right. That's right.
We got to pray. We got to be on our deen. Then there's hope. But if we give up now and just turn to crime, turn to drugs, turn to gangs, I personally know of a Muslim family here in the greater Toronto area. Their son is apparently stealing cars. 14, 15 years old. So please, as Muslim parents, don't tell me this is not happening. Don't tell me that this is a cultural thing. You must be involved with the wrong people, or I'll be blatant here. Brother, sorry, please understand where I'm coming from. Either you're mixing with the wrong crowd, or maybe they're black. You know what? That's not it at all. I'm sorry. If you're thinking like that, there's something wrong with you. Okay? I'm looking in the camera. There's something wrong with you then. Come to reality. Come to reality. The reality is that you are just working your 9 to 5 or 9 to 7, 9 to 8. Okay? You come home. Like you said, kids are probably playing video games. They're probably out. You have no idea what's happening with your kid. Like you said, Khateeb Ibn Stanley, invest in your kids. What does that mean? Doesn't mean you spend lavish boatloads of money on them. It means you spend time with them.
That's right.
Spend time with them. Spend time with them.
It's a big commodity.
100%.
Yeah.
Time is money, as they say, right?
Absolutely.
Dr. Dunya, don't you agree? Time is money.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Producer Kashif, let's get to another question, please.
May Allah help all our brothers and sisters suffering in Gaza and Sudan and many other countries.
Ameen.
So inshallah, we're approaching the top of the hour, so we'll take one more here. You mentioned absent fathers. From your experiences, how do you find strong Muslim role models for our young boys that have absent men in their life?
Great question.
MashaAllah. So we have Mihrab Center for Youth. We specialize in youth at risk as well as youth without fathers. So this is something that we've been offering this service to the Muslim community, but yet we're not getting the support, brother, that we need to get. I get phone calls all the time. Can you put on your Superman cape and come and save the world? Abu Shahadah right here in Toronto. And I'm like, I'm not Superman. I'm only Batman, but I don't have Batman's funding. But I could put on a couple of different masks. See, I got my Muslim kufi on here right now. I don't know if you guys saw, because I've been told that I'm dressed and act like a kafir, but see, I'm still Muslim. You see, alhamdulillah, I'm still Muslim. You see, even though I'm talking to the kids right now, that's why I'm wearing this gear. I'm talking to the kids. But for the people out there that they don't think I'm detached, I got on my kufi here. So, one of the things that, one of my favorite rappers in the old days, his name was Guru. Gifted, unlimited, rhymes universal. He said something so profound. In this first lyric he said in this one song, it was called, I was raised as a Muslim praying to the East. That's one thing. But then he said, spirituality supports reality, brother.
Oh, okay.
And the problem is yes, it's good to be religious, but are we cleaning our hearts, which is another topic, brother. And the apathetic people, usually they got something wrong with their heart. They don't care. And I'm finding that some people, they don't care right here what's going on. Forget overseas, even though, we send a lot of money overseas and they need help. Right here on the ground, I tell different communities, do you guys care about your youth? Yes, brother, we care about our youth. We gave them pizza. We gave them biryani. We gave them hot dogs. We gave them chicken wings for a program last weekend. Okay, mashallah. But how come you have so much kids in the jail?
Yeah.
This is emergency, calling all cars, SOS.
Yeah.
And it's like, mashallah, this masjid, I'm very impressed. They have lots of programs here for the youth. But from this, I would like to see them add from school to work to entrepreneurship programs. We need that. as well as we need mentorship, as well as we need to retrain the kids from learning to unlearning to relearning.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well said. Well said. Well said. Well said. Producer Kashif, do we have time for one more question? We're good? All right. Khateeb Ibn Stanley, it has been an immense honor. You bring credibility. You bring a hard sense of reality, that dose of reality, which I strongly believe many parents need. Many parents need. Many parents are again, and I'm a byproduct of that.
Mm-hmm.
My parents did the first immigrant experience of working that overtime. My father put in more overtime hours than I can imagine. In effect, could he have been an absent father? Don't want to say that about my dad.
Yeah.
But the hard reality is him working overtime hours to pay off that mortgage, to pay off the bills. Yeah, my mom worked as well.
Yeah.
I still remember cooking, that grilled cheese sandwich for my little brother because ain't no parent home.
Yeah.
Sure. I live that life.
Yeah, wow.
Now, for my home, you're a father of 3.
Yeah.
I'm a father of 3 as well. I try my best to make sure I understand my children and spend time with my children. When my son, alhamdulillah, Hafid of the Quran, when he watches YouTube shorts, looking over his shoulder, he's listening to Central C, okay? And he's like, oh, Baba, listen to this. That's hard. It's hard, right? I'm like, yeah, it's hard. There's some reality there. Like, look, man, we have to be both deen and dunya.
Absolutely.
Right, Dr. Dunya? We have to be deen and dunya.
Absolutely.
So what does that mean for our kids? That means we got to invest time.
Very good.
Time is money. Everyone's talking about it in terms of the business world, but time is money for your kids.
Absolutely.
More so.
Absolutely.
More so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dr. Dunya, Khateeb Ibn Stanley, I'll let you close out the show, which is something I rarely do.
So, alhamdulillah, one of the things that I believe is we need to work with like-minded people. I'm old now. I'm not interested in trying to, convince you, brother, that we need to work together. Either you work together or we don't work together. So, I want to leave you with a copy of my book. And inshallah ta'ala, if you could read it, let me know your insight. We have lots of projects we're working on. But, this is the level of mastery. What good is it if you don't put on the blueprint for the next generation? They can build upon this. I think I'm the first one to do something like this. So inshallah ta'ala, I may be mistaken in some stuff, but we now have it on the table. And, we've given a copy of this to some very prominent imams. Some of them, mashallah, they lost their copy the first day because it's not that important to them. You see, so I hope, brother, you get a chance to read this book, inshallah ta'ala.
Definitely.
And please, brother, jazakallah khair, thank you so much for allowing us to come on the show and make a presentation to the brothers about our project.
No, 100%. 100%. It's been a humbling experience. And so, look, at the end of the day, watch this video, pass it around, send it to as many people as you know, because, again, it's that hard dose of reality. The whole basis of our show is a happy, strong family. And if you have children, if you're a grandparent, if you're an uncle, if you're an aunt, you've got a child in your life, you've got a youth in your life, don't let that youth be a waste man.
That's it.
Okay? Don't let them be a waste of space. Yeah. Islam, religion, spirituality gives you that purpose.
Absolutely.
All right, Khateeb.
Get your copy.
There you go. All right. This is the Happy Strong Family Podcast. We're signing off. Again, tune in live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Watch this episode. Alhamdulillah, we've seen a lot of episodes now go into the tens of thousands of views on YouTube. We do Instagram. We do all that. But share and share alike. Spread the word and make sure that people are watching this, because this is why we do it. We do it for the sake of Allah. And we do it to make sure that people have at least some understanding to how to live a happy life. Jazakallah khair.